The Walt Disney Company just reported its 2023 Q1 earnings, and oh boy was there a lot of news. To start, former CEO Bob Iger is back to lead the company over the next few years. Under his term as CEO from 2005 to 2020, Disney stock saw a total return of 554% compared to 244% for the S&P 500. The hope is that he can return the company to this stellar long-term performance. However, there are a lot of changes needed. In today's video, I'm going to briefly go over the latest earnings report, changes in the business strategy, and the announced return of the dividend payment. My name is Zach, and you should leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Disney beat Wall Street expectations across the board in Q1. Earnings per share came in at 99 cents per share adjusted versus the expected 78 cents per share. Revenue of $23.51 billion, beating expectations of $23.37 billion. Total Disney Plus subscribers came in at 161.8 million, beating expectations of 161.1 million. It should be noted that this is a loss of 2.4 million subs, likely due to their large price increase in that quarter. This helped increase direct-to-consumer revenues and decrease losses from $1.4 billion in Q4 to $1 billion in 2023 Q1. There is still a lot of work to be done here, which Bob Iger addressed in the earnings call. Iger outlined a massive reorganization with new strategic priorities. The key pillars of this are cost-cutting, profitability, and renewed focus on creativity. First off, the company is planning to cut $5.5 billion in costs. This includes an announced layoff of 7,000 workers. A complete change in streaming service strategy is now underway. The new focus for direct-to-consumer is on sustainable profitability. Previously, Disney Plus was focused on chasing total subscriber growth. That growth at all cost strategy was common in the streaming wars, but is no longer being supported by investors. Iger reiterated that they plan to reach profitability on Disney Plus by the end of fiscal 2024. This will be done through a combination of cutting costs, growing overall subscribers, and revenue per user increases. The spending will now be far more purposeful on generating a return. For example, Iger mentioned that they see far higher returns on branded content like Marvel, Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars compared to general entertainment. So they will be doubling down on quality branded content. Also, they will be leveraging the existing profitability of the linear television and theatrical business. This means leaning more into theatrical movie releases and TV prior to releasing on streaming services. Additionally, they are under a full review of all marketing and streaming promotions. The emphasis is now on quality subscribers who will stay and pay long term, rather than trying to get as many in the door as possible through promotions. Streaming services very much are the future of Disney, but they are now being more disciplined in that transition. They need to make sure the profitability is there for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. This is key for a smooth transition as some of their legacy media businesses face disruption. On top of all this, Iger's reorganization is dividing the company into 3 divisions: Disney Entertainment, ESPN, and Parks Experiences and Products. More importantly, the company is putting all creative power back into their studios. All content decisions, creative control, and financial implications will be on the studio level. They will each have their own budgets and act independently within Disney. Iger argues this leads to a greater feeling of ownership and creative control. Additionally, it allows each studio to sink or swim on its own accord. They will feel the impact of films and projects doing poorly financially. In this case, they don't have the successful studios subsidizing the weaker ones. This will be across Marvel, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Disney Studios, etc. Previously under Bob Iger, this was the organizational strategy. A return to this is in direct opposition to recently fired CEO Bob Chapek's decision to consolidate everything to Disney corporate. So that's all the business news from Disney's earnings report. However, there was some financial news that many dividend-focused investors, like me, will love. When listening to the earnings call, I was surprised to hear they are planning to bring back the dividend. Here is what Iger had to say on the call.
Now, when it comes to investing in growth and returning capital to shareholders, we will take a balanced and disciplined approach, as we did throughout my previous tenure as CEO, when we invested in our core businesses and acquired new ones, bought back stock, and paid a dividend to our shareholders. As a result of the impact of the COVID pandemic, we made the decision to suspend the dividend in the spring of 2020. Now that the pandemic's impacts to our business are largely behind us, we intend to ask the board to approve the reinstatement of a dividend by the end of the calendar year. Our cost-cutting initiatives will make this possible, and while initially it will be a modest dividend, we hope to build upon it over time. Christine will provide more information on that.
Iger mentioned that the dividend will be returning by the end of 2023. Additionally, he emphasizes that they plan to reinvest in their own businesses, acquire new businesses, buy back stock, and pay a dividend. A return to profitability and this capital allocation strategy is exactly what Disney shareholders want. The Disney CFO gave additional insight about the dividend here.
Like Bob mentioned, given our recovery from the pandemic, strong balance sheet, and commitment to cost cutting, we believe we'll be on track to declare a modest dividend by the end of this calendar year. The amount will likely be a small fraction of our pre-COVID dividend, with the intention to increase it over time as our earnings power grows.
The new dividend payment will be a small fraction of the pre-COVID dividend. This is completely understandable as profitability has eroded significantly in that time. However, both Christine and Bob emphasize that they plan to grow the dividend over time as earnings increase. Once streaming becomes profitable, Disney will have far more flexibility and room for dividend growth. At that point, they will be profitable across all their businesses with a strong foundation for shareholder returns. In the past, Disney paid a reliable, growing dividend with previous annual and then semi-annual payments. It will be interesting what frequency of payment they do going forward. Overall, I found Disney's 2023 Q1 to be reassuring and a strong strategy moving forward. Personally, I feel way more comfortable with Disney as one of my core long-term holdings. However, there is still a lot of work to be done. Thank you for watching Dividend Data. Watch my latest portfolio update video for my latest thoughts on all things dividends. Follow me on Twitter for real-time dividend news, and thank you for watching.